It's lights out and away we go. And we don't get the best launch off the line. Rosberg then gets straight back down the inside of us. We're now alongside Steven. But Steven is pitting. What is he doing? He almost forced us straight into the pits to run him out wide as we can. But we've overdone it. And there's contact. Well, that is Codemaster's definition of an illegal overtake. What did the game expect us to do there? We finished in 5th place. A good result for us. What's up guys, it is Maxi Gaming HD here, back with my first official series video of 2016 in the form of the 10th installment of Checo's Charge to Glory, which takes place at the Hungaroring after an interesting race at Silverstone. Checo once again lost ground in a lackluster few races back. So, can he do it in Hungary? Without further ado, let's go in to the qualifying report. The Hungaroring welcomed fans from all over the world as qualifying for round 10 was about to get underway. It was little surprise to see the two Marussians lock out the back row. The penultimate row was locked out by the two McLarens, who endured a frustrating qualifying session. It was a disappointing qualifying for Force India. Sergio Perez expected less than 8, whilst Nico Hulkenberg could only manage 16. Sauber endured an average session, with Felipe Nasser in 14th and Marcus Ericsson in 15th. It was also an average session for Lotus, as Roman Grosjean qualified in 12th, with Pastor Maldonado in 13th. Toro Rosso endured a good session, with Max Verstappen qualifying in 10th, with Carlos Sainz Jr. in 11th. It was a disappointing session for Williams, as Valtteri Bottas could only manage 5th, with Felipe Massa in 9th. Red Bull once again struggled with their lack of engine power, as Daniel Ricciardo qualified in 6th, with Danny Kvyat in 7th. Two Ferraris of Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen locked out the second row. It was Nico Rosberg who took pole position by 0.3 of a second ahead of his teammate Lewis Hamilton in an all-silver front row.
We're just 18 kilometres from the city of Budapest here in Hungary, where today's Formula One race is about to take place. It's the Hungarian Grand Prix. Nico Rosberg doesn't have to shout about his chances of winning the race. He did his talking on the track and grabbed pole position when it mattered yesterday. He's got to be odds on for victory today.
He was driving on another level yesterday, so it wouldn't be a surprise if he just pulls away from the field and is untouchable. But as we know, anything can happen in Formula One, so we'll just have to wait and see.
So what would you have been doing overnight if you were Lewis Hamilton, to make up the time difference that he needs to make up based on yesterday's qualifying times?
He clearly has a pretty good balance in the car. He just needs to work out where he can squeeze an extra 10th or 2 to make up the difference.
Well, here we are, sitting on the grid at the Hungaroring, getting ready to see in the summer break, hoping for a good race here at the Hungaroring. So here we are, sitting on the grid. We have the lights illuminate above the drivers when they go out. It's lights out and away we go. And we get a good start off the line as we head up towards the first corner. We're alongside Danny Kvyat now, trying to get down the inside of Daniel Ricciardo, heading into the first corner. We might have done it, but we don't quite get the exit. But we are ahead of Danny Kvyat. We use the grass a little bit there as we head into the second corner. We're going to try to find a way round the outside of Daniel Ricciardo, but he's not quite able to. We're not getting to do it. But there's contact, and we lose out slightly. But we stay ahead of Danny Kvyat. That was contact there with Daniel Ricciardo. Not sure whose fault that was, but Daniel Ricciardo stays ahead of us. So now, moving on to lap 4. Not really much has happened. So at this point, we're just considering our strategies, biding our time, just waiting for something to happen ahead. I'm waiting for something to happen in this race so we can make up some positions. But P7 at the moment, it's a reasonable job so far. But now moving on to lap 8. Felipe Massa behind's got DRS. And we have run way too deep into the first corner. And we have let the Williams driver through. Really is not what we need. So, at the end of that lap, we are going to decide to pit. That was the lap we were scheduled to come in anyway. Massa coming in ahead. But a reasonable first stint, not really much happening though. But let's just hope we can get this pit stop right. So we're into the pits for our first stop. We get underway. We are behind Felipe Massa. We're off the limiter. Now exiting the pits. But here we have Will Stevens alongside us on pit exit. So close there to contact. Vettel Alonso Silverstone 2014 levels of closeness. And we are ahead of Will Stevens. We don't want to be held up by the manor. Now heading into turn 4 a lap or so later. And Bottas and Ricciardo ahead are battling it out. They are really strung behind the two McLarens. We're going to try it around the inside of the chicane. Surely that's not going to work. And we have made that stick. Unbelievably. We are ahead of both Ricciardo and Bottas. That was a great move there. Now we're behind the two McLarens. That was a great move there. We really made that move stick. Now down the inside of Fernando Alonso. We have made that move stick crucial, which creates a buffer in between ourselves and the two cars behind. And Button is just ahead of us, but he pits. So that means we actually now have a reasonable gap behind to Valtteri Bottas in the Williams. So he really made that move work. It was really good to make that move. But then we take too much of the sausage curb and run wide at the chicane. Doing a VCU from GP3 2014 Hungary. We ran wide and we've let Massa through. We were not going to be able to rejoin in time for when Ricciardo got through. But for that whole stint, we were completely wedged behind the Williams of Felipe Massa. We couldn't do anything. Because in the DRS zone, we just couldn't get the exit. So we decided to pit. And Massa in front comes in as well. At this point, I was thinking, right, we're going to have another stint held up by the Williams. But as you can see ahead, Valtteri Bottas has come into the pits as well. And that's going to hold Massa up. I don't know what the team were thinking there. Bottas are already gone, but that is going to hold Felipe up. So that has kind of halted his progress there. But, so we have made up a position here on Felipe Massa in the Williams car. And now moving on to later in that lap. And we're down the inside of Valtteri Bottas, who's being backed up behind a couple of cars. And we're still side by side. One of those cars is our teammate, the other is a Toro Rosso. And he has managed to defend it. But we are going to have DRS. We were able to take the faster line through the final corner and get the cutback. And there is Daniel Ricciardo exiting the pits as well. We managed to get ahead of him. We're down the inside of Valtteri Bottas. And we have made that move stick. Or have we? He's got the exit off of turn 1. Now heading up towards turn 2. And he gets the drive. And he's able to stay ahead. Great racing there. Now moving on to lap 18. We run wide on the exit of penultimate corner. Obviously on the primes. And everybody else is on the options. And Ricciardo is able to get through. But now we have DRS. Obviously, we're going to have more power down the straight with the Mercedes engine compared to the Renault engine. Now, up towards the first corner. We're going to try it round the inside of turn 1. And we have made that move stick. That was another good move there from Checo. Now moving on to the end of lap 19 with Daniel Ricciardo behind us. Once again, he gets the run. We move out very late, but he gets down our inside. We're going to try and hold it round the outside. We're going to use the curb. Daniel Ricciardo is able to chop us off, and we have lost out to Ricciardo. Now moving on to lap 21. Felipe Massa behind us. We move once again very late. And we understeer a lot at turn 1. This allows Felipe Massa to get through down our inside. Of course, on those prime tyres, they're going to have a pace advantage. Now we're into the pits. The others ahead have pitted. In we come. It's our final stop of the race, and this time we're going to switch to the option tyres, and then we're going to have more pace than the cars ahead, and we are going to see what we can do from there. Thinking 6th could be a very good target for us. As you can see, we are not ahead of the likes of Ricciardo and Bottas, but we're ahead of Massa, who we seem to undercut. Maybe he pitted on the same lap as Bottas once again. Here you've got Roberto Meri ahead of us. And what is he doing? He's just staying on the racing line. And we've lost at least 0.3 of a second there behind Roberto Meri, who would not move. And as you can see now, Danny Kvyat, who's trying a really daring strategy, is struggling. And we're going to try it down the inside of both Ricciardo and Kvyat. And once again, another fantastic double overtake from Sergio Perez, but Ricciardo is not finished yet, heading into turn 2, and look at that, he just completely shoves us out the way, and causes us to drop behind Danny Kvyat, as well as himself. Now, we're behind Danny Kvyat, who we passed with ease because he's struggling with tyres, but Ricciardo is gone. And he didn't get a penalty for that. I don't know why, because he went for a gap that was always going to disappear and gained a position as a result. As you can see, that Kvyat made a bit of contact with us, but it didn't cause us too much damage. As you can see, Lewis Hamilton's lost the race. Sorry there were not too many replays. Basically, I accidentally clicked circle when I was trying to record for them, and once you've done that, there is no way of getting the replays from the race. Codemasters really should make a way you can save replays rather than have to do it straight after the race. Anyway, we round the final corner in P7. A very average race for us, to be honest. But I'm pretty sure Sergio will be a little bit disappointed with that, considering his pace last time out at Silverstone where he got pole. As you can see, he does walk away from the camera. We finish in P7 with Hulkenberg finishing P10, so we get double points for the second time in a row. But a fairly interesting race. I mean, the first 8 or so laps were a bit dull. But then the action increased. As you can see, we're still in 9th, but 2 more points would have got us at least level with Kvyat. I think we deserve those 2 points back, and we lost them because Ricciardo hit us out the way, which really was not on. So you can see it's only the 2 Mana Marushas yet to score. It's been a very interesting first half of the season. But now, here are the constructors. We are pulling away from Toro Rosso. But anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in Spa. Goodbye.